a lot has been made about this very quiet free agency from Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles, and much should be. But if you are a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you are used to this by now, right? We make one little splash signing and then we do a lot of cheap free agent deals. Well, it's that time. It's time to start going into that bargain bin. So today I wanted to talk about two guys, two different positions, one offense and defense, that I think that the Philadelphia Eagles can bring on in for cheap deals and that I think can make a very big impact on this team. So let's get into it.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So today I want to talk about two guys that I have my eyes on that are still out there in the free agency pool, and I feel like the Eagles can honestly bring to Philadelphia for a pretty good deal. So before we get into that, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. Now, I do want to say the Eagles are in a very funny situation because I think that, and I've said this before in one of my lives, I think that Howie Roseman is going to be that knucklehead. He's going to be that hard-headed guy that doesn't want to pay players what now they're going to be worth, right? We're looking at these wide receiver contracts. Obviously, Tyreek Hill, going to Miami, basically made his own deal. He got a bag, right? He got a bag. He's getting almost $30 million a year, and it's to fans like me, and I'm sure people that grew up on the game, you're looking at it and you're like, that's insane. And I'm sure some former players are saying that's insane, but that's where we are now. So it looks like the players are going to be demanding more money. Howie Roseman is a notoriously cheapskate. So it's going to be funny and it might be painful to watch how that plays out because he's going to have to give in at some point. I don't know how soon that will be. It might be as soon as Devontae Smith, because if he goes out there and plays, his tail off, he's going to be demanding some money. So I don't know. That was just a random thought I had, but we're going to get into the first player, all right? And the first player is going to be Tyreek Edmonds, safety from Pittsburgh. So he's right around Philly, so he's not too far. So he's not going to have to move too much, right? If we look at this kid, 25 years old, he's been able to get some starting under his belt. He's only been playing for 3 years, has 3 sacks, 5 interceptions in his career, 340 tackles. He's a cheap, short-term option. When I look at him, ceiling, you're hoping you get another Malcolm Jenkins, right? You get somebody that's kind of young, somebody that's not really a superstar, but, has been able to play solid enough to be a starter in this league. And you're hoping that you get something here. Floor, he's a short-term guy. Maybe you draft somebody in this draft, and he's just kind of a placeholder until you're able to get somebody else. But I think that Tyreek Edmonds would come to Philadelphia on a very, very friendly deal for us. And I know when Howie Roseman hears that, he gets excited. I've read anywhere from like $1 million to $3 million a year, and that's crazy. That's crazy, especially for his age. And like I said, he has been able to play as a starter in this league. He's not horrible by any means. He's able to make plays. So this is a guy that I would not be mad at grabbing. And realistically, we can talk about this for days, right? We can talk about how important this secondary moving forward is going to be for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles defensive coordinator, John Gannon, has said that he wants to play a more versatile type of scheme. He wants to be a little bit more translucent, a little bit more fluid, I should say, in what he does as far as his defense goes, going out there in a 3-4, going out there in a 4-3, being able to bring out those big packages and at the same time be able to bring those nickel packages. So he wants to be able to do a little bit of everything, adding depth at a position where now you only have as a starter, right? We're looking at Marcus Epps. We're looking at Anthony Harris. It'll be interesting to see if they want to bring Rodney McLeod back, but obviously he's still a free agent. He's not on this list. But Tyreek Edmonds is a player that I think can, like I said, give us immediate impact, help us out. And if he starts, then cool, he's serviceable. If he doesn't start, and if he does start and he plays beyond what he's played, he's still only 25 years old. He's somebody you can kind of have grow with this team. But if he doesn't pan out, then you can still move on, and it's not going to be an expensive ordeal. So I think that Tyreek Edmonds is somebody that we should keep our eye on. Now, I did want to talk about wide receiver because wide receiver is a spot that I thought that the Philadelphia Eagles would take care of in this free agency. We did see that they tried to go after a Calvin Ridley. Obviously, his whole, betting situation, which check my links if you're in a betting situation. But anyways, his betting situation right now kind of got that deterred. So it seemed like he wanted to go after somebody at that position, just couldn't make it happen. And then all these numbers, I'm saying, like, this kind of, brings it back to what I was saying in the beginning. All these contracts were just crazy. The numbers on these contracts and the yearly cap hit that these wide receivers are now taking on is insane. It really is. And I think it's going to take him a little while to really come around to it, because if you really look a lot of these new coaches, a lot of these young franchises, right, they're the ones that are gung-ho and giving out money. You look at the Jaguars, the Chargers, they have a very young very young coaching staff, very young team, so they're just going all in. They don't care. So it kind of resets the market, right? But wide receiver is still a spot that we have to take care of. And I think this guy, while I don't think he's going to come out here and be the number one guy, I think he's a better option than Zach Pascal. I do, and I don't mean that in no disrespect. I think that you're looking for size, you're looking for speed. Sammy Watkins brings that. 28 years old, obviously, career stats is nothing really pops out at you. The only 348 catches, 5,000 yards, nothing crazy, right? What does pop out to me is the 14.5 yards per carry. He's a guy that I think can fit, and Zach Pascal can too. Obviously he's played with Nick Sirianni, but Sammy Watkins can fit into this offense just because he's a guy that you throw it to and he makes something happen. So, that's the type of game that we've played, especially towards the end of the year when we were going more run heavy, more passes closer to the line. And I think that Sammy Watkins is somebody that can help us out there, man. Look, we do not have, even with Zach Pascal, I think that it would not be out of the realm of possibilities that we go ahead and try to shore up that wide receiver room a little bit more. Look, Sammy Watkins will probably be cheap, probably be a couple $1 million, maybe a year or two. Prove it. These are all prove it deals, right? A year or two at the most. Don't go crazy. And you see if maybe you can be the team that fits what he does the best, and maybe you get the best type of year out of him. He has hit 1,000 since he's hit that. It's kind of been, up and down after that. Obviously was with the Chiefs for a while and kind of got muddled out in that very, very, very talented wide receiving group. So there's talent there. I feel like he can make his own impression on this team. I don't think that you lose anything by really going out there and taking a stab at this. We're sitting at around $20 million in cap space. I think maybe a little bit north of that, but we're sitting around $20 million. Go ahead and use a little bit of that. It's going to take like 9, maybe like 9, 10, something like that. Don't quote me on that for this draft pick and for this draft class if we were to keep all of our draft picks and sign them. So you got a little bit of money, right? You got like $10 million to play with. If you're thinking about just maybe, letting that roll over to next year, I just don't see the point. Just go ahead and grab some guys that can help your team, even if it's just to help Jalen Hurts be the best Jalen Hurts moving forward. And that's what this all comes down to. That's what this all comes down to. If you're going to go with Jalen Hurts as your number one option, as your QB1, you have to give him weapons around him in order to make him successful. Give him guys that can take a 5-10 yard pass and turn it into a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? Give him that confidence boost. Wide receivers are not just pass catchers. They're literal just confidence boosts for their quarterback. When you have a guy that can just make a catch on third down when it's a little bit off, or somebody, look at Devontae Smith. Some of those catches were crazy, right? Some of those catches were absolutely crazy. So, you got to get some guys around him. We have a good run game. We have a good offensive line. We have a good tight end. Let's go ahead and add some wide receivers, because worst case scenario, if Jalen Hurts is not the guy, the next guy is going to need weapons as well. So let's try and start figuring out who we want to be in this wide receiving group. So those are my two guys right now. I'm thinking Tyreek Edmonds. I'm thinking Sammy Watkins fills up two different holes. You get a safety that can possibly start. You get a wide receiver that can possibly be your third, fourth guy. I'm big on Quez. I really am. I'm high on Quez Watkins. So, I think Quez Watkins can be that guy. So maybe it's Sammy and Quez, maybe that'll work out. So I think that'll be cool. But either way, you guys let me know who are some options that you guys are looking at. Admittedly, I'm skimming the top of this free agency class. I didn't go too deep. Tyreek Edmonds is like the deepest I went with it, because I just don't think that the talent's there. And I really don't want to get an old guy. So that's just where I am. I'm sure some people are going to bring up like AJ Green or Julio Jones, and I guess those are viable options, or Jarvis Landry. I was really on the fence about that. I just don't know what his contract's going to be, and I don't know if I want to pay him that much. So we'll see what happens. We'll see where we go. But like I said, you guys let me know what you're thinking in the comments. But other than that, y'all know what it is, and y'all know what it's going to be. I always got to find my outro because I'm doing my own thing. You know what I'm saying? That was bars. But yeah, we out. Peace!
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Fly was flying on the team. Touchdown, touchdown.